Welcome back, big ballers. It's your boy Manny coming in with another episode of your fantasy football sports minds with my co-host Joe Schmo Kingsley. Joe, how the hell you doing today, brother?
I'm doing great, Manny. 1 week till football starts. 1 week from today. And
Yeah,
I'm more than ready. I've actually had one draft already. It went very well. But as we were saying right before we start recording, it is best to draft this weekend, right before the season starts.
agreed. That means everybody kind of has a really good idea on who's who instead of just taking a shot in the dark. Obviously, I feel it's the most unbiased way because if it was just drafting early, I'd have such an advantage of all my competitors because I do the research early on, So, uh, but either way, I'm happy. I'm excited. Football season is here, and hopefully another season of championships for myself here.
Yeah, we're going to do a few things. We're going to touch on the news and notes. Of course, there are so this one reason it is also good to wait is because there's a lot of stuff that happens right before the season starts, as we will go over. But before we get into that, a quick word from our sponsor.
Hey there, my name is Manny James Gonzalez with PRB, and I'm a real estate agent here in Central Florida. I'm a U.S. Navy veteran, military relocation pro, and big supporter of 2A and veterans' rights. My specialty is VA transactions. I'm also experienced in all parts of real estate.
I've been living in Florida for over 20 years, and I can tell you we still believe in freedom down here. One of the greatest job markets, excellent economy, and no state income tax. When it comes to an agent, you want one that's going to be honest, not afraid of a fight, and most importantly, willing to do the things that some agents aren't willing to do.
And what's that, Manny?
Shoot straight, Dan. If you're ever considering buying in Central Florida, you need somebody you can trust, and I got your six. I'm Manny James Gonzalez, find land for the free and home for the brave.
Welcome back, ballers. Now we have some news and notes to go over, a few injuries to touch on, and then we're going to get into a mock draft for you where Manny's going to be drafting from the number 1 spot, and I'm going to be drafting from the 12 spot. So you can get an idea of what it's like to draft first and last and be on complete opposite ends of the draft board.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good change up, Joe. I know we were doing like middle of the draft, which, we discussed was one of the harder places to draft from. You kind of got to play, be one with the flow. But when you're drafting first or last, my opinion, there's different ways to go about it. But obviously, we'll go into that once we start drafting here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is so much different from first. You've got all that time till you come back, and then when you're drafting last, you got back-to-back picks. So it's definitely a different strategy, and we'll discuss that. But first, let's get into our news and notes. Now, there's some very important news that just dropped today, a couple hours before we start recording. The Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice has accepted a 6-game suspension and will miss the first 6 games of the 2025 season. So anyone that was under the impression that he was going to start in like week 8 or 9, like they were talking about, that is no longer the case. And Terry McLaurin received a 3-year deal, $87 million, with $44 million fully guaranteed and a $30 million signing bonus. I heard actually it was like 96, so I'm not sure. But the most recent number I saw was 87 million, 44 million guaranteed, and a 30 million signing bonus.
And I do want to touch on the relevance of that, ladies and gentlemen. Well, at the end of the day, Terry McLaurin was being faded in a lot of drafts because he was having a contract dispute. But if you looked at his numbers last year, 13 touchdowns, I think he just hit 1,000 receiving yards for the season, and he wasn't even targeted that much. Now a season with him being really in touch with Jaden Daniels, I could see his stock. I mean, put him as one of the top like tier 2 or 3 wide receivers, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, no one was looking to draft him last year. I mean, he just kind of fell to you, and now that he's made that deal, he's definitely shooting up the draft board.
Early, I'd say 3rd round pick at least.
And Carolina Panthers wide receiver Adam Thielen was traded to the Vikings, so he's back with the Vikings. I don't know how much that really matters, but I felt like I should mention it. And again, something that probably doesn't matter that much, but the Saints decided to start Spencer Rattler at QB. He's at least going to open the season, and we'll see how that goes. Maybe they'll change things up after a few weeks, or maybe they'll stick with him.
Well, I'll tell you what, Tyler's show is probably – I would want to see what that kid can give me more than Spencer Rattler, because he did play a little bit last year, and he did get thrown to the woods, right? He was starting as a rookie, and it was a terrible team, terrible situation, and now he's taking over with what could be, a whole new staff altogether. So I don't know if Spencer's that guy, but I'm fading Chris Olave. I was never a fan of him this season, but his ADP is way too high for me. If he's not falling to like the 9th, 10th round, he's not worth picking up for me.
Well, that's why, when they announced that, I think it was yesterday, that's when I asked you, should I just go grab Christian Kirk over Rashid Shaheed? Because I just don't really like the New Orleans offense, and Christian Kirk's on a much better offense. So.
Yeah. And that's something I totally slipped my mind. I forgot Kellen Moore went over to the Saints. He was my offensive coordinator for my Philadelphia Eagles last year. So great offensive mind. I saw Rashid Shaheed actually had a decent, season when he played last year. So, best ability is availability, right? So we'll see how he stays on the field this year.
Yeah, he started off hot last year. That's for sure. And another minor note that you probably heard, Keenan Allen is on the Chargers. So that'll be interesting to see how that pans out.
Nice flex play. Keenan Allen, he's probably going like around your 10th round, 12-man draft. So definitely worth a nice little flex spot on your team.
Yeah, doesn't hurt to keep him on your bench for a couple weeks and see how he does. Now, to get in some important injury news, it is official that Joe Mixon will miss at least the first 4 games of the season. I was actually kind of high on him going into the season. I thought, they're talking about his ankle and his foot, but there's enough time. Apparently, they don't know when he's going to play. And as we know, Tank Dell, he's also going to miss at least the first 4 games and probably more. So Houston wide receivers, that's another reason where Christian Kirk might be a good guy to grab. Green Bay Packers wide receiver Christian Watson was moved to the PUP list, and Jaden Reed is actually back at practice, but he said he still can't run routes without pain, so he's not certain to play week 1. We'll see. And then at Tampa Bay, there's a lot going on. As we know, wide receiver Jalen McMillan was placed on IR and will miss a good chunk of the season. Godwin, he's taking his recovery very slowly and probably won't practice until week 2. And just today, there was a report that Cade Otton is dealing with a leg injury that was different from the hamstring issue he had a few weeks ago. So his status for week 1 is in question. And I actually really liked him due to the issues at wide receiver. I thought he was going to get fed more. But, now Igbuka is looking a lot better as someone to grab, and same with Mike Evans.
Oh, yeah, Mike all day on your radar. Should have been.
Yeah, I mean, of course he's already on your radar, but just with that news, it might bump him up a little more. Now, as we know, Brandon Ayuk is on IR and will miss at least 4 games, probably more. And Jawan Jennings is dealing with a calf issue that I thought was minor, but now they're saying he might miss week 1. So keep an eye on that and make plans. Titans running back Tyjae Spears was placed on IR. The Ravens tight end Isaiah Likely was not placed on IR because the team expects him to return, but they didn't say exactly when. They just said the early part of the season. I'm not sure what that means. And then a new report, Darnell Mooney, he was also not placed on IR, despite the fact that he has not practiced really at all in the preseason. So keep an eye on him for sure. And last but not least, running back Najee Harris was activated, and they're saying he could actually play in week 1. I don't know. He's never missed a game. Maybe his involvement will be very minimal, but they're saying he could play in week 1.
He's part of the celebration part of the show. He's going to like the fireworks.
That's right. But yeah, that's all we got for you. Now let's get into our mock draft from the first and the last spot.
Welcome back, ballers. So, going into this draft here, obviously, me and Joe want to talk some strategy for you. So, me picking in the beginning, obviously, this is something that you don't want to overthink, right? You got to have your top number one guy you're going to pick no matter what happens, right? So, always go with that pick. For me, I have mine. Everyone might differ a little bit, but most of them are going to go Jamar Chase, right? But in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to build my team very strategically. So since I'm picking first, it's going to be a while for my second pick, but my second and third are back to back. So the guys that I'm picking up front are going to be my foundation for my team. So I'm looking at guys that are going to hit 30 points a game consistently. So that's going to be wide receiver, running back, or quarterback. Those are the three positions you're looking at only. You shouldn't be touching a tight end. None of that. Now, Joe, you're obviously your opinion on where you're picking from.
Similar mindset where I'm trying to load up and get the rock solid studs. And again, I'm not focusing on tight end. Like, I know a lot of people are taking Brock Bowers at the beginning of the second round. I just feel like there's better options out there. And specifically with the wide receiver and running back positions, like you're just so stacked up that I don't really have as much confidence in Brock Bauer as everybody else. He's on the Raiders. We were just talking about their quarterback issues, and I would feel more comfortable just taking someone that's going to be a guaranteed 25 every week that's on a good offense. And that's what I'm going to look for on mine. I'm getting back-to-back picks. I'm going to look at what's left on the board. If there are two incredible running backs, I'm taking two running backs. If there's an incredible wide receiver and running back, that's what I'll do. And I might, on the way back, wait for a quarterback, but you can reach if you want Josh Allen or Lamar. So if you guys really want someone like that on your team, take him. I would just say, wait for tight ends pretty much until 6th, 7th round.
Yeah, those guys aren't worth grabbing. I mean, you and I were talking about something as well, Joe, before this, that, the 50-point difference per season, 50 points divided by 17 points is like 2.9 and some change. So consider it 3 points a game. So when you're talking about the difference between tight ends and wide receivers, so most wide receivers are going to be on average like 250 to 300. That's like a really good solid season. For your tight ends, there's only a couple tight ends that had great seasons. Well, few, right? Trey McBride, Brock Bowers, Kittle, but they're still hitting 50 points less per game than or per the season than the other guys. So to take a guy in the third round, second round, where you're seeing those guys getting picked just to get 17 points a game is not worth it. I'd rather get 20 points for this position instead of 15. Because at the end of the day, just your team's going to overall score more, and that's what the whole point is right? Score the most points. So
absolutely,
and you're not going to have a tight end that's going to have a huge week pretty confidently every time. So
yeah, that's such a valid point. When you just look at the season total that they're projecting, there's a clear difference of 50, 60 points between the top tight ends and the top running backs and wide receivers.
Easily.
So let's get this party started. You've got the number one pick. We'll talk everyone through it in case they're just listening. We'll let you know what every team picks, the other okay. Robots.
So obviously, I have my little cheat sheet here, my Excel sheet on guys that I love personally as my top guy. And, we did talk about this for our running back rankings already, right? Top number one guy. So I would actually go Saquon Mar. Just because I like superstar running back.
All right. So as Manny was just saying, he went with Barkley. Number 2 was CeeDee Lamb. Number 3 was Jamar Chase. 4 was Jahmyr Gibbs, who I have as my number 1 running back. Bijan Robinson at 5. Derrick Henry at 6. Justin Jefferson at 7. Amon-Ra St. Brown at 8. Malik Neighbors at 9. Puka Nacua at team 10, and then Christian McCaffrey at the 11th spot. And now I'm up, and the guys that we got on the board for running back are Ashton Genty, Devon Achane, Josh Jacobs, Bucky Irving, Jonathan Taylor, Kyron Williams. Wide receiver, you got Nico Collins, Brian Thomas, Drake London, A.J. Brown, Ladd McConkey. Now, typically, I'm always looking for the running backs, but I actually like the wide receivers that are left a lot. And I'm not as high on Ashton Genty as everybody else. Not saying he couldn't be in the top 5. I just have my concerns with that offense and with him being a rookie. Devon Achane's got a little bit of issue right now that is making me nervous to draft him. Josh Jacobs is a guaranteed stud every week on a good offense. I like the idea of taking Josh Jacobs. Bucky Irving, same thing. Little nervous about Jonathan Taylor just with his injury history. I think I'm actually going to go with a wide receiver, a guy I told you I was very high on, Nico Collins. Now coming right back around, it's very tempting to grab another wide receiver in Brian Thomas or Drake London, but then I'm going to be left with scraps at running back. A lot of people are going double wide receiver. I think it's risky. Now let me take a look. Quarterback, you got everybody still a quarterback, but I'm going to go with Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, that's a solid pick. I have Josh Jacobs as my number 5 running back now. I put him over Henry with my final rankings. So, yeah, I'm huge on Jacobs again. Oops. Hold on one second, guys. Josh Allen fell off the board, so did Lamar Jackson. I have back-to-back picks. So, I know if I don't get my superstar QB right now, he ain't ever coming around, right? So, all the guys left, Bucky Irving, Ladd McConkey, Tyreek Hill, you still have Trey McBride, T. Higgins. These are like second, third round guys. I'm going to definitely get my QB. And because I like to mix it up, I'm not going to do Jalen Hurts. I'm going to do Jaden Daniels as my primary guy. And then for my second guy, I want to get somebody. I got Saquon Barkley, the next best running back, Bucky Irving, Chase Brown, James Cook, Breece Hall. These are all guys I consider like tier 2 guys, right? But I could go over here to this side and get one of the final tier, I say higher end tier 2 wide receivers in McConkey. So that's what I'm going to do, because all these guys here are pretty valuable, but I think he's the best guy right now on the board.
That's a really good stack that you got. You've got a running back, quarterback, wide receiver. I love it. And for me, so after all those guys I was talking about, considering they were taken off the board in the second round, including Brock Bowers and as you just grabbed, Jaden Daniels. Then we got McConkey, Bucky Irving, Tyreek Hill, Chase Brown. I was thinking about taking him, but Josh Jacobs is just going to be that reliable floor. I think he and Chase Brown, I have them really close in my rankings, but I do think Chase Brown has the ability to finish inside the top 5. Then after that, you got Breece Hall. Not a huge fan of that. Joe Burrow. I love Burrow. Jalen Hurts. I love Jalen Hurts. Trey McBride. Also good. JSN. Rock solid pick. Marvin Harrison Jr. And then we've got Cook at the 11th spot. So now I'm back up. Who do we have at running back? Alvin Kamara, Amarian Hampton, Kenneth Walker, Chuba Hubbard, James Conner. Who do we have at wide receiver? I can grab both these guys. T. Higgins, Garrett Wilson, Mike Evans, Terry McLaurin, Devontae Adams. We were just talking about how much we like Mike Evans due to the situation in Tampa. And we were also talking about how much we like Terry McLaurin. You were talking about third round. We're now in the 4th round. But T. Higgins, Garrett Wilson, I like them, but not as much as Mike Evans. So I'm going to go with Mike Evans here.
Mike, great pick. And honestly, T. Higgins being here this late is a surprise. He's a second and third round guy. So,
when he's healthy, he's one of the best wide receivers in the league.
Like he put up our wide receiver 1, not top superstar receiver, but he put up wide receiver 1 numbers last year. 1,047 yards, 8 touchdowns. And he only played like 13 games.
Yeah, absolutely. Now I'm going back over to the running backs because I'd rather just double up with 2 running backs and 2 wide receivers than grab a quarterback right now. I'm going to wait for the quarterback now, and I'm going to wait for the tight end now. So who do we have at running back? We got Alvin Kamara. I like Kamara a lot. We've got Amarian Hampton, who has climbed a lot up my rankings. I didn't actually have him at first in my top 25 because I didn't think he was going to get a lot of time at the beginning of the season. now we know that since Najee is practicing, that situation has changed over there.
Oh yeah, I've been high on that man for a while. The problem is it took so long for the season to roll around. Now it's no longer a secret.
Right. That's true. And it
So,
does
yeah.
feel like a little bit of a reach to take him in the fourth. But here's
No,
the
it's not.
thing. If I don't take him now, he's not coming back to me. And honestly, he's just a little more exciting to have on my team than Alvin Kamara, who I've had on my team like 10 times. So I'm going to go with Amari and Hampton right here.
Bro, that Harbaugh run offense is going to be so good for him. Like you saw what he did for J.K. Dobbins. Now you're talking about a dude like Amari Hampton. Like he's going to fucking dominate, bro. And Najee Harris is just going to get some breathers, give him some breathers. But anyways, obviously we had a good runoff over here. I'm not going to go over everyone, but I will say that they did pick everyone that I was considering. I was looking at Chuba Hubbard, McLaurin, obviously Metcalf, right? Those were the guys that I expected to stay a little bit
Higgins,
later.
who you were just talking about too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I knew he was going to be gone. So now my running backs are these guys, right? So now we're getting to our rookie rounds. The fifth, sixth round, you're talking more about rookies as far as like the talent projection. But because those running backs are kind of suspect right now, what I want to do is I want to get a stud wide receiver because I got the chance to get some higher end wide receivers here because fuck a tight end this early. Okay. Running backs, Pacheco, Trevion, Tony Pollard, Caleb. Okay, I know exactly what I'm going to do. So in this case, I'm going to go with whatever receiver I want on my team, right? So I like DJ Moore, but actually – in my rankings, I have who do I have higher? DJ Moore or Devontae Smith? I actually had Devontae Smith a couple spots higher on my rankings. How about Cortland Sutton and Xavier Worthy? Up. Okay, so I'm gonna get Cortland Sutton. Get that connection here. So I got two studs, but I need to definitely go running back.
That would have been my pick too, by the way. I would have grabbed Sutton right there. I really like him.
He's good. And then I'm going to take the guy that has all the hype and looked amazing in training camp, Trevion Henderson, man. Everybody knows Ramondre is losing that job 2 years ago. So they finally drafted somebody.
Dude, it's true. It's funny because it's true. But they were kind of giving us mixed signals at the beginning of the season, but it's pretty clear now. Now, one thing I did want to touch on is in the third round, George Kittle was taken off the board. I think it's a little too early. That's just my opinion. But, Kittle's one of those guys that's going to give you peaks and valleys. But the situation in San Francisco, that's a pretty solid pick too.
When healthy, he's, putting up 20 points a game in that offense.
Yeah. And he's going to be operating as a wide receiver with all these injuries they got going on right now. Probably running next to Ricky Pearsall. So a few more players came off the board that I really like. Devonta Smith is someone I would have considered too. But there's someone I'm really high on that's still left right now. Actually, a couple guys.
Pickens.
Just look at the first three guys there in the ADP. George Pickens, Jameson Williams, and Tetairoa McMillan. I like all those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like those are solid picks. I even really like Calvin Ridley. He's still hanging around up there. Now let's take a look at running back. Not as appealing. Isaiah Pacheco, Aaron Jones, DeAndre Swift, Mixon, who we were just talking about, is not going to be playing for at least 4 to 6 weeks. Pollard is a good pick. I like him. He's still up there. Quarterback, at this point, I'm still waiting. Tight end, I'm still waiting. So which running back and which wide receiver am I going with next? I'm going to go with Jameson Williams. I actually like him a little bit more than Pickens. I know a lot of people disagree with me, but I do like him a little bit more.
Tesla's taking a lot of those targets, man. They're not all going to Jameson. Isaac Tesla, the rookie third-round pick, he's going to get a lot of that burn this year too.
Yeah, they've been talking a lot about him, man. They're saying I don't think he's going to take as many from Jameson, but if anything happens to him, he's going to step in, no problem.
Yeah, plug and play.
Now, I'm going to take a risk here with running back, but I just feel like we didn't get it enough from Isaiah Pacheco last year. I think he came back injured, and I think if he's healthy and he's strong, he could be that guy again that we saw 2 years ago. So I'm going to roll the dice on Isaiah Pacheco.
I'm a little worried about him, you know.
I am
Like
too. I am too.
I thought he was healthy last year, and they just didn't let him play, you know. So that to
Yeah.
me was a little bit worrisome. Like, is he injured or what, you know? So
Right.
so at this point, obviously, one of my higher end guys, I actually have Calvin Ridley really high on my rankings here. So had I known I overlooked him earlier, so Calvin Ridley is actually one spot above Cortland Sutton in my rankings.
Oh, okay.
I have him as the number 20. Obviously, I'm in a position now where, you know, running back is getting thin. You know, as you can see here, there's only a couple starters left, and the rest of the guys are coming in as flexes. So I'm going to take one of those starters. You mentioned one of their names, Tony Pollard and Tyrone Tracy are the only two starters left up here. Everybody else, Caleb Johnson, he didn't have a good camp. Quinshawn Judkins, who knows if he's even going to play this year. Brian Robinson, backup. ETN, he could be a starter, but he could split time altogether with Tank Bidsby. So, you know, I'm going to go with the guaranteed start. So I'm going to go with Tony Pollard and a terrible Titans offense. No one's going to take his touches. So that's number one there. And of course, like, it's not even a question for Calvin Ridley. He's the best guy left on the clock here. So I'm just going to keep that balanced approach. I have 3 wide receivers, 3 running backs now.
So I want to touch on both those guys because you said that your ranking for Cortland Sutton was number 20, right?
21 for
21 and Calvin was number 20?
Yes.
Okay, that's funny because I have for my rankings, I have Cortland Sutton at 20. So
funny.
we're real close there. But I also was considering when I took Pacheco, I was considering Tony Pollard because I like Tony Pollard as a very safe floor.
Yeah, he's a good starter, man. He's going to get you like a good 17 a game.
Now I'm going to take a glance at quarterback and see what we got going on. And then you know what? I might grab a tight end after that because I'm pretty good at running back and wide receiver. You know, I got 3 of each. So let's see who we got at quarterback. Kyler Murray, Justin Herbert, Brock Purdy, Dak, CJ Stroud, Drake May. Honestly, don't really love any of those guys. But I feel like Justin Herbert is going to be much better this year than he has in past years. And the situation at San Francisco makes me a little iffy about Brock. A lot of people really like Dak this year. They're high on Dak. I'm not as high on Dak. I'm pretty much looking at Kyler Murray and Justin Herbert right now because Kyler Murray, I feel like he's going to put it together. He's got a lot of weapons. And same thing with Justin Herbert. I'm a little tiny bit higher on Justin Herbert, so I'm going to grab him.
Agreed. He's a safer play for sure.
Yeah, and now I'm looking at tight end, and I'll be honest with you, it's slim pickings already. But a lot, dude, I'm not as high on Tyler Warren. A lot of people are talking about Tyler Warren, and they love him. I mean, he's on the Colts, you know. It's hard to digest. But I'm just going to go with the consensus on – oh, wait, Tucker Kraft's still there. I'm going to go with Tucker Kraft.
Yeah, and I'm not – and to your point, too, like the Colts had Michael Pittman last year. They couldn't even scheme him open, you know. So that quarterback situation has not gotten any better.
No.
And Daniel Jones, your starter, fuck that. I'm not betting on Daniel Jones.
It's tough, man.
As far as tight ends, I don't touch tight ends to at least the 11th round. So guess what? Because at the end of the day, this guy's going to score 10 to 12 a game. This guy's going to score 10 to 12 a game. This guy's going to score 11 a game.
As we were talking about, yeah, it's like the fall off is steep. But so if you can get that consistent, even 8 to 12, I mean, that's what you're looking at.
Look, I got another starter right here, Tyrone Tracy. Boom. Another running back starter. And then who else? Oh, speaking of the devil, Ibuka. If you're going to get him, you're typically going to get Ibuka and no later than the 8th round, guys. Like, if you see him, we just talked about him earlier, he's going to get so much burn. You know, like it's like I knew he was going to have a good role, but like everybody's dropping like flies over there in Tampa Bay. And it's just, you know, unfortunately, he's going to be unleashed and he's going to be on fire too. So,
yeah, before the situation we were talking about with, you know, over at Tampa Bay, like we knew they were a little banged up. We didn't know the severity of it. And we liked Ibuka before, you know. So now even more so. He's going to be getting a lot more reps.
So if you look at my team now, I have 4 wide receivers, and of course I'm going to go for running back because you don't always get a chance to get another starting running back this late in the game. So Tyrone Tracy, they have a way better quarterback in New York.
I think that was about the Eagles getting drafted in the 9th round.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't for my pick.
No, and I doubt it was for Cooper Kupp. Oh,
No.
it might have been for Brandon Aubrey, a kicker. So one of these AI bots went Eagles D, and then right after him, someone went Brandon Aubrey. Maybe it was one of those.
Yeah, definitely. I would say Eagles D this early, man. That's crazy.
So one guy I was hoping would stick around for me that just came off the board is Ricky Pearsall. I really like him. Dude, I like Tyrone Tracy as a safe floor too. I had him on every team last year. I grabbed him a couple weeks before he went off, and it paid off big time. Now, he fell off a little towards the end of the season, but he was getting touchdowns and was very helpful. Now I'm looking at running backs and wide receivers again because that's all I want to fill at this point. Options at wide receiver, Juwan Jennings, who's got the calf issue, Josh Downs, who's always got injury issues, and he's on the Colts. Michael Pittman, he's not even close to being on my radar. Keon Coleman.
I like Keon, man.
I'm not as high on Keon just because we've been waiting to see it, and it still hasn't happened. I actually like Darnell Mooney a lot, but now that he's got the issues with his shoulder that are more severe than we knew, I'm not sure about him either. I'm going back to running back. We got Jordan Mason, Zach Charbonnet, Javonte Williams, Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb's the starter in Houston now. So that's going to be probably at least a respectable floor, especially because they got some issues at wide receiver as well. So I'm going to actually grab Nick Chubb.
And I do want to talk about that. So Nick Chubb, you put up a great point. Like I was high on him. I knew Joe Mixon was going to
you were high
time.
on him. Yeah, you were high on him before that news was announced, though, that he was going to miss that much time.
Yeah, and now obviously he's on everybody's radar. But what I like about Nick Chubb, he's going to guarantee to get the full workload those first few games. So when you're looking to set up your team, and you're waiting for your stars to develop or like get into that flow, a guy like Nick Chubb just kind of steps in and gives you that really high ceiling. So I'm very, very happy with him this year.
And I totally agree with all that. And there's a few guys left that are in a similar situation, but I'm not as high on him, like Austin Eckler. He's now the number 1, allegedly, over in Washington, but they're probably going to be on a committee. I have a feeling all those guys are going to get work. And Javonte Williams, I have my concerns with him. But at the top of this, you got Jordan Mason and Zach Charbonnet still left on the list. I kind of like both of them, and it's unfortunately because of who the starter is. Jordan Mason is behind injury-prone Aaron Jones. I love Aaron Jones, but, he's probably not going to play a full season. Zach Charbonnet is behind the incredible Kenneth Walker, who's an amazing athlete, probably not going to play a full season. I think I'm going to grab one of those guys, and I'm actually not sure in my rankings who I had. I think I had Jordan Mason higher in my rankings, so I'm going to go with him. But it's a toss-up between those two, really.
Well, Javonte's a starter in Dallas,
Yeah, but I'm not. I'm just
kicker,
kicker, and then Steelers right after that. Which, it's just way too. Don't take a defense or a kicker until the last 2 rounds.
Yeah, definitely.
But now, I'm just not sure about it. I have a feeling that Dallas could be a committee as well.
So now I'm round number 10. Let's see. I got 1, 2, 3, 4 receivers. 1, 2, 3, 4 running backs. My running back stable is a little bit light, but the guys. Ja'Cory Crosby-Mary. Oh my goodness, he was so far down in the rankings, guys. He's not going to be here this late. This is somebody I totally forgot to talk about. He's the starting running back for Washington, and if he's not on your radar, guys, you definitely need to take another look.
I think just to touch on that real quick, I think right now, technically Austin Eckler is still at the top of the depth chart. I think they are going to be on a committee for at least a few weeks. Now, I do think he's going to be the starter, no doubt, but I don't know how quickly that's going to happen.
And then for my next pick, obviously I'm in the 10th, 11th round. So now for tight ends, I have a few good options. Obviously, will this be the year that Kyle Pitts shows up, right? With Michael Penix Jr. There's a couple other guys, Zach Ertz, Dallas Goedert, and actually the guy on the top of my list here is going to be Jake Ferguson. He
I
had
like that, dude. He would
he
be
had
at
a
the
pretty
top of
good
my list
season.
too.
He had a good season last year. He just got hurt.
Yeah, and Dak is gonna, if Dak's 100% and so is Ferguson, they will put up numbers. All right, so back to me. We had a lot of questionable picks in that round. But hey, it's the 11th round. What can you do? I'm gonna go glance back at wide receiver and see who we got left. Brandon Ayuk, not on my radar. Rashid Shaheed, not until the end. Marvin Mims, I actually do like Marvin Mims. He's a little banged up right now, though. What does it say about his injury? Okay, so that just happened on Wednesday. Today, we're recording on Wednesday. He left practice early with a groin injury, but they say it's not going to be that serious. I'm going to grab Marvin Mims. And now we were talking about Christian Kirk with the issues over in Houston. I was deciding, as you know, between Rashid Shaheed and Christian Kirk. I don't really like either of those guys, but I feel like this late in the draft, they could do something. You still have Keenan hanging around, who could be a touchdown threat. And,
he has an automatic chemistry already with Justin Herbert, man. He's going to step right into the same role again.
I have a feeling you're right about that. But one guy that is still hanging around, I was just mentioning, I think is going to be involved, at least at the beginning, is Austin Eckler. And then also Braylon Allen is still hanging around. And there's a chance he could be involved too. I'm going with Keenan.
I was gonna say I'm only grabbing Braylon Allen if I have Breece Hall. I'll handcuff him, but to have him for only a few weeks is not enough for me to stash him that long.
Yeah, I hear you.
So now my pick rolls around, right? Best available. There's 12th round. There's only 4 more rounds. I'm going to get 2 back to back. So I already have my quarterback. I don't need to go over here. So looking at running backs, most of these guys are backups. Rachaad White actually has a role with Tampa Bay, so he'd be a nice little flex rotation most likely. Jerome Ford is going to be splitting that backfield with the guy that I'm going to pick, Dylan Sampson, who's supposed to be the starter this year. He's a rookie 4th round pick for the Browns. So they grabbed Judkins 2nd, and they grabbed Dylan Sampson 4th. So I'm taking him.
What's the deal with Judkins anyway? Isn't he possibly going to get suspended?
Well, he's talking about possibly going back to college.
That's what it is. Okay.
It's that and a contract standoff, and they're not paying him what he wants. He wants more money. They want to pay him less with a waiver or something that he forfeits it all if he messes up, and he wants a guaranteed contract. So, fortunately, he's not going to have that with coming out of college with the sexual assault,
Yeah, no shit.
So my pick here, obviously, the guy I liked is gone, right? So I have Keenan. Oh, you grabbed Keenan Allen. Good pick. That was you, asshole.
Glad we talked about it.
Okay, so now so I got enough running backs. I'm going to get another wide receiver. So Christian Kirk's a guy I like. Maybe Xavier Legette moves up a little bit now with Adam Thielen over there back. But actually also Hollywood Brown's another one, right? Like he's somebody that's going to get some playing time early on. Will he be healthy, though? That's different. Wan'Dale Robinson's going to be a nice PPR target, right? So there's a few guys that I really like here. But typically instead of going for the safe floor guys, I want the ones with the higher upside, right? Because if I'm going to be taking somebody this late, they're not going to be starters. It's hopes that they will take over a starting job. So with that case, I saw some really good tape on a lot of these rookies. So Luther Burden for Chicago is nice. Trey Harris for LA Chargers is nice. And so is Pat Bryant for the Denver Broncos. So since I'm gonna be taking a shot in the dark anyways here, Pat Brian, I'm gonna go ahead and take him. He's a guy that's high up on my list.
Okay.
Now I got my 5 wide receivers, 6 running backs.
Yeah, so I'm back on the clock, and I see Christian Kirk still hanging around, and I do like him specifically because of the situation over there. Another guy that's possibly going to do something is Josh Palmer, but he's one of those guys. It's like I've had him on my team so many times, just sitting on the bench hoping he could do something, and he never does anything. That I'd feel weird drafting him now. But one guy I do like, just because of the situation over in Miami, that could have a role is Ollie Gordon. So, I really hope Achane is healthy and does fine. And Jalen Wright, he's another one that's banged up. But let's say Jalen Wright is banged up at the same time that Achane goes down. Ollie Gordon's going to be the guy. I know it's a reach, but I'm going to grab him. And then my next two, I have to take a kicker or a defense. Who cares? We'll see what defenses are left. Got the Chiefs, who I really like, as always. They were incredible last year. You got the Niners. Cardinals. I actually like the Cardinals. The Cardinals' schedule is very tasty for the first 6 weeks of the season. So they're not a bad defense to have. But I'm just going to go with the reliable pick in the Kansas City Chiefs.
I'm actually a big fan of grabbing a kicker at the 14th pick.
Okay.
In my opinion, like defenses can shift, and you could have a defense that's on a wire that's going to be good. And so, if you get the kicker you want up front, you're gravy, because this guy's going to get all the, he's going to be the most efficient. So, for example, you have Cam Little from Jacksonville, has a lot of hype right now. Tyler Bass from Buffalo. You want a kicker on a high volume offense that's going to score a lot. Evan McPherson, right? He had a really good season 2 years ago. That's why he's down here. Same thing, Daniel Carlson, Las Vegas. His offense is inferior, though, so I don't think he's as good of a pick. But if you look at the rest of the guys, Jake Moody, so there's a big drop-off here for talent, right? So that's why I would just take one of the best available here. So if I'm looking at that between these, I like either Fairbairn or McPherson. So got to have one bang on my team. That's who I'm going with there.
I like him best out of this choice too, because I feel like since he's just going to be scoring so much.
Yeah, he is. He's going to have to keep him in a lot of games, man.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Burrow, of course. But as soon as this pick registers, perfect. I'll get my player here. And then for my defense, obviously 49ers, Commanders, Cardinals, 3 really good defenses. But 49ers is the most proven one. Robert Saleh coming back. And the 49ers actually made some pickups this offseason. So
they needed to, man.
Yeah, they did.
They fell off a little. They had a lot of injuries last year. That's a good point about whether you should take a defense or a kicker first. It's not something we got to focus on. But, I usually take a defense first, but Manny's exactly right. You can play a defense every week and just go with the flow. I typically end up doing that just because really early in the season, I give up on whatever defense I drafted and just start playing week to week.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to grab Tyler Bass because Buffalo scores a lot of points too.
Exactly. Good strategy. So now pulling up the report, Birdman's team over here, guys, Nico Collins, Jordan Jacobs, Mike Evans, Omarion Hampton. Like he did exactly what you need to do in this position. You got to build a nice balanced team. And he went with 2 superstar wide receivers and 2 star running backs, right? Like that's going to be your foundation. He didn't go bad on quarterback either. He got, pretty solid quarterback overall. I think Justin Herbert's like a tier 3 guy. So he's going to get you a solid 20 a game.
Yeah, he's a solid floor. I feel like he's a safe play.
And obviously a couple starters over here, right? Isaiah Pacheco, Nick Chubb, those are guys that are going to get some snaps early on. And then obviously the other guys are good handcuffs or flex plays. Jordan apparently Jordan Mason's going to be used as a Thunder to Aaron Jones's Lightning. So that's how they're going to be operating there in Minnesota. And like you said about Miami there,
Yeah,
so
just in case something happens to Achan and Jalen Wright, I'm just not sure how Miami looks at him at this point. So they might just give the ball to Ollie Gordon.
oh yeah. Now, however, on my side, obviously, guys, I had the advantage of having guys that were like way down in the rankings here, but that's just kind of an idea here. Like you look at my team, I have two solid starters, for running back, two veterans, and the rest are a bunch of rookies or young guys. You don't want to be too heavy into them because they can really be beneficial or they can really, bite you in the ass. So it's always good to just instead of going for potential, go for like production. That's always good. But overall, I feel like I had a solid draft. Pretty decent team. Is it my favorite one I've done so far? No, it's not. But I think overall you got to roll with the punches when it comes to this stuff and adapt because everybody drafts differently, and you might have guys that just want to run the clock on the same position over and over again.
You're going to have in every draft, like I wasn't like thrilled about my team either, but every draft, the players you plan on getting, they're not going to be hanging around. You're going to be lucky if every player you want happens to fall to you. You're going to be really lucky. The chances are you'll get about half of them.
Yeah, and that's the point, right? You want to get them either the front half or the back half. Either way, you're building your team a certain way, and my only advice is make sure you know where your rankings are at so you don't regret decisions you make later.
That's right. Have them in front of you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you stopping by again. This is the last, show before the draft. We're actually going to do a little bit of a live stream with our draft, our people in our draft, just to have a little bit of fun this weekend. So if you guys want to tune in, it's going to be Saturday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Joe will be there. I'll be there. And, of course, a few of the other guys in my league. But hopefully you guys learned a little something. Please reach out to us if you have any questions. Joe, do you have anything else for them?
No, but if you want to tune into a high stakes draft, you'll see it's a very serious league. People are paying attention. They're doing their research. So you'll see what a draft looks like when everyone's really involved and invested.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. Well, you say you guys next week, same time, same place. You know where to find us. And don't forget to share it to your friends, your mama, your grandmama. Let everybody see it, all right? Have a good day, ballers. See you next time.